Hi guys, today I want to show you some easy sound design tricks you can use for producing Hypnotic Techno in Ableton Live. Alright, so this is the patch we will be creating. It can sound like that, or like that, or like that. Okay, so we will be using Ableton Operator, but to have a bit of intro for those of you who are not familiar with Ableton Operator and FM synth, a quick info what it does. Let me draw some notes. Big, all right. So we got like basic operator, sine wave. It's from the first operator. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 modules, 4 oscillators, 4 operators basically that can modulate each other. And I'm turning on the modulation by increasing the level of volume. Oh, so we are starting to hear the modulation on the first fundamental, not the fundamental, on the first harmonic of that oscillator. We can change the what type of harmonics it will modulate. We can add the next one. Play with an amp envelope, so we got this. Now it's really modulating. So this is the basics of FM synth, that we can use different sounds to modulate each other. And originally most FM synths were based on the sine waves, so sine waves modulating sine waves. And it's recommended to play with those actually and not to use filter, and see what kind of sounds you are able to get with this type of modulation. But in our case, I've used a bit more complex modulation. Let me turn off all the effects I had. Okay, so first I'm using not the sine wave but Salt 64. Let me have a long sound. Yeah, so it already sounds rich, full of harmonics, but we can use this really nice effect called oscillator to velocity. So whenever we have velocity changes, and do I have velocity changes? Yeah, let me have some. It will alter the frequency that this. So there is a bit of movement, and we are playing lower frequencies. I haven't changed anything here. Let's add the next oscillator, and this is just a sine wave. And I like to draw those harmonics myself. And I like when the sounds are like growing and evolving, and for that use I'm gonna use an LFO that will be mapped to the volume. And we will have changes in the timbre when the volume rises and decreases. Then another, we have a chorus of 2, chorus of 3 maybe here on the C. And again, the same situation, sine wave plus some extra harmonics. And a bit of, you can find your sweet spot. This sounds interesting. And now the sound is very rich and I would say, yeah, rich in overtones. We can see that on EQ8. Yeah, a lot of frequencies. But we want to tame this a bit, so I would add a filter. And we're gonna have envelope on 19%, a bit of decay, and attack. But I also like those movements. and for that purpose we could use LFO. That would be linked to filter, but I found that I can be more precise with an external LFO mapped to the frequency. Then I can set the range and offset, depth, etc. for this specific parameters. So now it really has that nice growl. Let's use some. Yeah. Oh, turn that up. So what we need more is a bit of distortion, and I'm using amp, just the blues module with those settings. A bit of spread to have this sound rather in stereo. Let's focus on those two. A bit of pitch envelope to have a bit of more attack and emphasis on the beginning of the notes, echo, essential. With the wobble effect on, I like to have that wobble because it changes the tempo of each repetition, which creates that kind of like, I would say, vintage vibe. And phaser flanger, a lot of warmth. It just adds more filters to cut out the low, highs. Quite a bit of feedback, center around 200. That's okay for now. And if we really want to like get into the tone, we can decrease this one, so we don't have that overall top end. But I think for that sound it's really nice to have this. And a bit of LFO for oscillators B and C, so they alter their pitch. And that's pretty much it. And then once I have it, I like to map some key parameters into a rack. So what you do is you group everything together and just create a group, instrument rack, and then you map some macros. I already have that going, so I'm not gonna do it once again, but if for those of you who don't know how to do it, you just right click a parameter and map to macro. Like Ableton 11 gave us extra 8 macros to map, because originally it was only 8. If you want to have more, just add plus. Yeah, let me revert that. And now we can play with the sound. Yeah, the time is about making every of these parameters longer, every time longer. This one now is a bit too crazy. Yeah, it's like perfect droning. And you can change the range of this filter. So if I would like to have that sound, I would have maybe a bit more. Maybe that's too low. And this could be a bass. And that's it, I guess. I hope you've learned something interesting and valuable. You can support my work by signing up to Patreon and buying Rapid Arrangement Mini Workshop. The links are in the description, or watch any other video popping around here. Have a good day. Bye.